According to Jeremy Fowler, ESPN, McLaurin ain't happy. McLaurin ain't happy about the contract talks, and he wants to do something about it, and he wants to do something about it now. Now, we're going to talk about Debo. We're going to talk about JD5. We're going to talk about this man turning 30 years old. I believe. Ziggy, how old is Terry McLaurin?
Terry McLaurin is 29 years old and was born on September 15, 1995.
Yep. Turning 30 years old. 30 years old is that year of potential decline for a wide receiver. Look at Cooper Kupp. But I'm not saying I'm out on Terry McLaurin. I'm just merely telling you that if he does something wild here in the next couple of weeks or month, if he holds in or something, this could be something dangerous for his future and fantasy value in 2025. And I'm super high on Debo anyway. The touchdown regression concerns me at his cost of entry. If you have to pay late third round value for Terry McLaurin, I'm kind of out. Not that I don't love him, not that we didn't predict his rise, not that people didn't win leagues off the back of the Terry McLaurin. Go get Terry McLaurin advice that this channel dished out time and time again last year. We still love Terry. We still love Terry McLaurin, but there is a cost of entry discussion that we always have to have when players rise up. James Cook loved him, told everyone to go win a league. Jameson Williams last year, go get him, win a league. But there is a time and a place to say now today's cost isn't yesterday's cost. The price went up. Are we in? Are we out? The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Look, nothing's holding back JD5. Nothing is holding back JD5. The only 5. The real 5.
There are 2 5s? JD5? AR5? There can't be.
Oh no. They're gonna cross streams.
Oops. Well, damn. He's a fragile Freddy.
He's a 5. JD5 is the only 5. JD5 is him, and now all can see. He graduated from Himothy University. Unleash the Washington Kraken. JD5 to Saturn
And beyond.
to Saturn.
And beyond.
Supernova.
So, you look, I mean, there's 100 ways to look at McLaurin. McLaurin is a player that we love. But his top 5 wide receiver appeal to some people is not realistic with Debo in town. It's certainly something that he could achieve. I would say something more along the lines of 7 to 11 wide receiver capability. He can achieve that, but I think expecting that or paying for that right now at the age of 30, he'll be 30 when the season is underway, with a potential hold in. We'll see how that goes. The fact that they're pretty far off tells me one thing. That tells me that McLaurin wants top 5 wide receiver value, and we've heard this before, top wide receiver money. And the Commanders are probably thinking something along the lines of 10 to 15, or maybe it's, 8 to 12. That's my guess right now, is they're so far off. He's not happy. They aren't even close. And if he thinks he's getting top 5 wide receiver money, he's out of his mind. And it's not that we don't love McLaurin. And we said that McLaurin was very, 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 very much like DJ Moore. sitting there, wasting away on the bench or in the lineup, but essentially feeling like a fantasy football bench machine, right? DJ Moore is capable of so much more. We needed him to get a wide receiver. He was finally handed Justin Fields in Chicago, and Justin Fields turned him into a top 5 wide receiver instantly, which is what he's going to do to Garrett Wilson. To Garrett Wilson.
Many wonder what motivates and drives Garrett Wilson.
I mean, Garrett Wilson, to me, is more like a third rounder. Steve, wouldn't you agree? I think, he doesn't belong up there with the top 5, 6, 7 wide receivers, don't you think?
Please report to the moon. Space-time continuum reset.
Now, there are a couple ways to look at this, okay? A couple people are going to say something like, and I've seen it in the chat already, that Terry didn't score touchdowns before JD5, that JD5 equals TDs for McLaurin. And that's true. But I think what people need to understand is that McLaurin was going to score a lot more TDs than he was as soon as he got a good, competent quarterback. He has not had that. Just like Fields turned JD5 into a monster, and Fields is going to not turn Garrett Wilson into a monster. Garrett Wilson's already a monster, but he's going to make him even better, and Garrett Wilson's going to the motherfreaking moon. Garrett Wilson's going to be one of the best values in fantasy. Third round, just absolute monster machine. Third round smash. But I think it's safe to say McLaurin was just waiting to do some of this stuff. He just needed the quarterback. So I don't think it's fair to necessarily say, oh, McLaurin's a product of JD5. He's been waiting for a quarterback. We've said it all along. The moment he gets a good QB, even if he was traded to a mediocre team that had a decent quarterback, he would see tons more volume and tons more touchdowns, and it would just, everything he does would be amplified. I think to a degree, though, we're at a tipping point, right? Where I'm not saying he's done, but here's this teeter-totter, and the teeter-totter has age 30 at the center of it, and it's going to go this way. He was on this side of it. This was his early stage of his career, the early years, and then now we're at this tipping point. At some point, he's going to walk across this and tip this scale. Now, could he do well at 30, and then 31 to 32 is where the scale tips forward and he just goes down a cliff? Maybe. But no matter what happened last year, too many people try and correlate everything. Oh, well, last year he's up in touchdowns, so he's going to be up in touchdowns this year. But you got to consider the other variables. 30 years of age. That's a new variable that you can't measure, you can't equate, you can't use any of the science and data you think you can use to try and predict what's going to happen in year 30. Year 30 is a complicated year for a wide receiver. It just is. And McLaurin, while you could say, oh, he hasn't really had the mileage, he kind of has. It's not like just because he's been thrown bad footballs, he gets another extra year or two. So I'm not saying avoid Terry McLaurin. I'm just saying that there's a... Ziggy, how old is Debo Samuel?
Debo Samuel is 29 years old and was born on January 15, 1992.
One more year. He won 30.
Here you go.
Ziggy, stop. Ziggy, stop. Silver, appreciate you. Silver in the building with his 28-month membership. You've got one that's 30, one that just turned 29. Now, you could say the same thing about Debo. I know some people are going to go, Debo Samuel, I don't want anything to do with him. He's injury prone. He's overweight. He's cooked. Scary Terry. He's fine. He's finally going off. He's good. What are you talking about? This is a big difference. This age gap of 1 year maybe gives Debo one more year. Maybe not. We don't really know. All I know is that if Terry doesn't show up fully, if he's holding in, or however this ends up panning out, and right now I don't know that I get the sense it's going to go that way, but if it did, the tables would turn. Debo would get lots of work, and there would be an increased injury risk at the age of 30 for Scary Terry if he does any sort of hold in, hold out situation. Okay, 29 years of age, looks sharp on the field. I don't care what anybody says. If someone says Debo's overweight and looks, like he's cooked. They don't know ball, bro. Or they just have a real aversion to Debo Samuel, or they're a Niner fan and they got upset about the situation. And they're bitter that Debo's gone. Anybody that knows football knows that Debo looks fantastic. I put it on my Instagram. Do I have to continue to show people? Are people that oblivious to what's really going on in the world? Do I have to continue to show Debo Samuel running routes like this right here? Look at this man on the field right now. Look at how fantastic he looks. I don't want to hear anything about it. By the way, this video is going to drop here tomorrow morning at 7:30 Eastern a.m. 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 4:30 a.m. I'm doing a lot of my video uploads at 7:30. You can expect to pour a cup of coffee and watch a 10 to 15 minute upload from your boy Smitty. But this right here is on my Instagram. And Debo's running quick routes. Who thinks that he's cooked? Really? My phone lines will be open for you in a few minutes. You can call it and tell me how Debo looks like he's lost a step. That looks fantastic to me. He looks like he's a route machine. Oh, wait, here's him on a treadmill with Leggett trying to run, 21-something miles per hour? Look at how fast Debo's going. Stop with the nonsense. You don't know ball. You don't know about Debo. He's cooked. He's too overweight. He's going to be bad. You don't know ball. Now, no one's saying, let me wrap this up by saying this. No one's saying on this channel, including me, that you should avoid McLaurin or you should avoid Debo in general. In fact, Debo is getting so much hate, he's a almost must-have for me. 6-7 round territory. If the hate continues, if all the weight talk, he's carrying too many LBs, he's one biscuit shy of a bucket of chicken. I keep hearing it over and over and over. If all that drives his value down, then Debo in round 6-7, not just round 7, becomes one of the biggest steals in fantasy. But McLaurin, I'm not in general saying to worry about Scary Terry. I'm not saying that McLaurin is a total avoid, but I am saying this. I don't like third round value. I don't like it. Fourth round value is questionable even still. And that doesn't mean I don't love him. It doesn't mean I don't support him. It doesn't mean I don't expect big things. It's just right now with the potential hold in, hold out, right now, given that fourth round value commands you a Travis Hunter in best ball, a fifth round value can get you Hunter at a non-best ball. Understand the difference. A potential Hampton. If I'm having to grab McLaurin instead of Hampton, I don't like it. If I could grab Joe Burrow instead of McLaurin, I'm grabbing Joe Burrow. If I can get Debo and Burrow versus McLaurin and a quarterback later, I like that. It's all about ADP value. Too many people think I'm hating on a player because I don't love their ADP. I like Jameson Williams. I don't like his ADP. Ted McMillan isn't a total bust. I hate his ADP. T-Mac is one of the worst values in fantasy. T-Mac at freaking third to fourth round turn. That's where he's going. Third to fourth. This is one of the worst values in fantasy. It doesn't mean I hate the player. The value is disgusting. Terry McLaurin in the third round is just not good business. It doesn't make sense. Not at 30 years of age with Debo on roster. It's kind of like when people were valuing Puka around that like 5 to 7 overall territory in the early part of the offseason, and then Adams arrived and his value wasn't moving much. This is a big risk at 5 to 7 overall. A lot of people were touting Puka as the wide receiver 1 maybe this year, wide receiver 2 with Adams on roster. It doesn't make any sense. You got to package in the risk of potentially sharing a lot more work with a competent player. Not to mention Puka's injury risk, not to mention Stafford's injury risk. There's no packaging any risk there. With Debo, if Debo climbed to fourth round value, guess what I would be doing? Telling you to avoid Debo Samuel in the fourth round. But because Debo goes in round number 6, guess what I'm going to tell you? In the 6th to 7th round, he is a total smash. He is a go get, make sure you grab him. It's all about ADP. Bucky Irving, one of the biggest values in all of fantasy football, goes at 2.4 to 2.8. That is a home run. If his ADP climbed to number 1 overall, what would I be telling you? too expensive. It's all about 80. I don't know. Maybe I'd think about it. But it's all about ADP. Everything is about ADP. Yeah, T-Mac, Jose, we don't like it. The value of T-Mac in round 3, 4, we don't like it. I don't like it. No, he's okay. I don't like it. Chucky, wait a minute. All right. I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate my super chatters who have come in hot already. Just bringing the thunder. Overcome, dropping a $5 hauler. We got Panthers dropping a $2 hauler. Let me answer these 2 super chats immediately. This one from Overcome. Puka, Brees, and Garrett Wilson for Lamb, T. Higgins, and JT in Dynasty. This one's tough because I don't love Puka's Dynasty value, but he's got tremendous trade value. I'd probably end up, if I kept that Puka side, still want to make a Puka trade. Give me Lamb, Higgins, and JT, but I'm trading JT. Send JT away. So make the trade. Go get Lamb, Smitty approved.
You've just been Smitty approved.
But then I want you to immediately go try and trade away JT. And you're going to try and attack Hunter. You're going to try and attack Harvey. You're going to try and attack Hampton. You're going to try and attack a Kyron. You're going to try and go get Bucky. And Bucky's expensive. You got to add a first rounder. You might have to add more than that. But I'm upgrading JT. And the best way to upgrade or trade JT is to upgrade him. It might seem counterintuitive. Why would anybody want JT? Nobody does want JT 1 for 1. So you got to go upgrade him. And that sounds, again, counterintuitive. But if you give somebody 2 players, that's the famous 2 for 1, you confuse matters. You take the responsibility off of JT in that you're doing this. You're going and getting, let's say, let's call it Bucky. Bucky's going to be hard to get, but let's just say Bucky. No one is going to give you Bucky for JT. And I don't like the player options 1 for 1 that are available in a Bucky or in a JT trade. So if we cover Bucky real quick and say, what players can I get for JT? I don't like the 1 for 1 options. I don't like any of these 1 player options unless you're getting Travis Hunter straight up and you get lucky, or you get Kyron straight up and you get lucky. What I want to do is take the onus off JT, say, I'll give you JT and this first rounder, this second rounder, an additional second rounder, maybe another second rounder, whatever the case may be. Now I can go get 1 player. Why? Because now the onus isn't on JT. Now there's pressure on both of them to deliver. And now the person can lower their guard on JT and say, well, what if? If it's just JT, they're like, no, JT, he could fail. He's older. He's been injured. His team's a mess. JT, oh, what if? Well, now I'm curious because now the pressure is not just on him. I get this, but what if he does turn out to be great? And now all of a sudden you can get a Bucky Irving. Now you can do something kind of wild. And if it's maybe something along the lines of Harvey, you go get Harvey for JT. You try and do it straight up if you can. Although worried Williams about Harvey might make that possible, but if you have to give up like 2 times second rounders or whatever, we start talking about a first rounder, I'll have that conversation with you all day long if you would like. The Fantasy Football Show phone lines are open after I answer this question here from Panthers, and any other super chats get immediate attention. Overcome, appreciate your super chat, my boy. Thank you, Panthers, for yours, and thank you. Who dropped? Silver dropped the message. Appreciate you, bro. I think the earliest T-Mac should go is 4-5 turn. I'm going to say T-Mac doesn't belong in round 4. I think the 5th round, if T-Mac was going in round 5, you might have me saying, okay, I like that. I like T-Mac. I don't love T-Mac. I like T-Mac. And in round 5, I like T-Mac. In round 4, I'm out because I can give you 10 players I'd rather draft over T-Mac in round number 4. He doesn't even belong in round number 4, but I agree with you. In 5, I could get behind it, and that's where he starts to become worth the cost of entry. It's all about cost of entry. It's all about return on investment. It's all about your ROI, and it's all about the phone lines being open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Do it live. Human Ziggy dropping the 22-month membership question. Appreciate you. He says, Smitty to the moon. Haters will hate. Take a lap. I don't even know. Is there a hater in the building? I imagine there's a hater in here somewhere. Ron Navy, you're live.
Yeah.
What is up?
I disagree with you, Smitty.
On what?
I disagree with you this time. On T-Mac's value, I value him highly. I love him. I got T-Mac all over. But you tell me what's wrong with this team. Jamar Chase, Bucky Irving, T-Mac, Joe Burrow, Travis Hunter, Debo Samuel, and then backing it up with David Montgomery, Travis Kelce, and Travis.
Where'd you get T-Mac, though? Because what I'm saying is his value right now, especially on underdog, is the 3-4 turn. So you can't get...
I know. That's where I got him.
So
I got him in the third. I got Joe Burrow in the fourth. I got Travis Hunter in the fifth. And I got Debo in the sixth.
Where did you get Travis Hunter in the fifth? In what contest?
Which one is this? Hold on. I think it was the Corgi.
Okay. Well, look, I mean, your team's good, but could it be better to get rid of T-Mac and put in a better player? Again,
No.
I say yes.
In my opinion,
I got you.
Listen. I totally get where you're coming from, but for me, I value T-Mac a lot higher than you and probably other people in the third.
Let me
because
these
I
calls.
think
Hold on one second. Hold on. Let me merge these calls. Let me move. You guys, mute yourself real quickly while Ron Navy continues his point. Okay, go ahead, Ron. I hear what you're saying, but I just don't agree.
Yeah, well, and I don't agree with you because here's my thing about it. I think if it was just T-Mac on the team just like last year, and there was no Debo Samuel, but now you got T-Mac and Debo on the same team with JD5, I think it's to the moon, baby. I think T-Mac's going to earn every bit of third-round value.
I think you're confused. I think you're confused. T-Mac is not Terry McLaurin.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, but he's not T-Mac. T-Mac is Tedero McMillan.
Oh, no. I ain't talking about him. I'm talking about Terry McMillan. I mean, Terry McLaurin. In the third. I value those two. You were talking about McLaurin.
No, I know.
But they're both T-Mac.
No, T-Mac is not Terry McLaurin. You might call him that, I guess. I don't know. I don't. Anyway, the whole conversation was brought up because of Tedero McMillan. We're talking about Ted McMillan and how his value is awful and how he's been going at the 3-4 turn. So that's the whole conversation. You're talking about.
Oh, I haven't seen him going at the 3-4 turn. I'm talking about.
Well, the whole chat realizes right now, but he's not. T-Mac is not his nickname at all. I mean, you may call him that, but the whole world doesn't. T-Mac is Tedero McMillan.
Well, I do, and I also know that he's got Scary Terry.
It's Scary Terry. It's F1. It's F1.
That's what we're going about.
It's Scary Terry. So okay, so you took.
And you were talking about him being 30 and the value of him. You were talking about both of them at the same time.
I know, but there was a specific question that we were talking about when that came up. I can see where you got a little confused because of T. McLaurin, it just got you in a T-Mac. Okay, go ahead. Anyway, as far as
you were talking about him
as
first,
far as Scary Terry in the third. Let's digress. As far as Scary Terry in the third round, I get where you're coming from, and like I said, I don't think Scary Terry's a bust on any level. I like Scary Terry. I just think that once you get into this, he's your third drafted player, you get into some muddy waters. And they're just, what it comes down to is they're just better players in the third round or the third round turn, the 3-4 turn, than McLaurin. It doesn't mean McLaurin can't deliver on late third round value. I just think it's a tall order, and people are buying him at on the rise, and he's about to potentially fall a little bit. The hold in, he's 30 years old. The fact that you're now paying ceiling price tag and you're not leaving yourself any wiggle room. That's where I'm saying that I can justify 10 to 15 players I'd rather have than Terry McLaurin in this late third round. As it gets into the fourth, I'm more comfortable, obviously, and I could take Scary Terry in round 4, late round 4. I'm fine with that. And if let's say you reach on it, like in your example where you got Travis Hunter in round 5 and you got Joe Burrow in 4 and you got Scary Terry in 3, then it makes sense that you love your team because your team's fantastic. You could easily argue, that Burrow and Hunter both belong in 4, and then you got Scary Terry on a value as well. Like, you did good with your specific team. But could you have grabbed a better player? I still believe you could have. Doesn't mean your team's bad. Your team's great. But I just think that the third round for Scary Terry is just such a risky place to grab him when you could get Debo, and you got both of them, and I get that. But I'm just saying, 1 for 1 in a vacuum, drafting McLaurin in this third drafted player territory has a lot more risk than other players there. That's all I'm saying, and that includes like taking.
Here's my thinking.
That includes taking a plethora of players. Maybe Kyron wasn't available, and I get that. You're weighing out your options, and sometimes the board falls a certain way where you say to yourself, I'm going to reach here on Scary Terry, who I want in the 4th round, but the player I want right now will be available in the 4th round, so I could just kind of swap it real quick. And that makes sense. There's times your team's fine. Your team is good. Your team could easily win any tournament it's in. You didn't misstep at all. You got values, and I don't mean this like you got lucky. I'm just meaning like you got fortunate that the Hunter value fell, the Burrow value is still there, and you took Terry McLaurin early, and it all worked out. Like, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You didn't make a mistake. I'm just saying in general.
It doesn't happen all the time. Right, I'm just saying.
Third drafted player value is just.
I got more. JD5 and Debo combinations than I got JD5 and Terry McLaurin combinations. I got more of those than I got of one, because usually Terry McLaurin's not there. But in this instance, I was able to grab him, and I like him. When I look, I like him right now. I like the team, and I like the players around him. I love his quarterback. I like him better than Garrett Wilson. I like him better than McBride. I like him better than Harrison. Wilson. I like him better than
Garrett Wilson.
Yes.
Wow. Garrett Wilson.
I don't trust anybody. Hold on. I don't trust anybody, and I know Fields has still got to prove himself. Fields, New York, just as bad as Pittsburgh and freaking Chicago as far as quarterbacks go. They screw them up. They screw with their heads. So I'm not guaranteeing that just because Fields went to New York, he's going to be this wonderful quarterback for them, because they're just as bad. They screw up quarterbacks left and right.
Do I sense a little bitterness that Fields is no longer in Pittsburgh? Is that what I'm sensing here? All right, real quickly, Ron.
No, there's no bitterness.
Real quickly. Ron got two red X's. Ron almost got booted off the line. Okay.
That's okay. Here's what. It's my opinion. And if people don't like because you got your opinion, and I like your opinion, but I got my opinion
I know.
too.
All right, hold on.
If they don't like my opinion,
hold on. Here, let me just say something real quickly. What I do love about, we talk about Best Ball Mania winner from last year, Best Ball. If anybody wants to draft on Underdog tonight, we'll be drafting. I'll drop that link right now in the live chat. Make sure you click this link and sign up now. Underdog will match your first deposit 50%, all the way up to $1,000. And we'll be drafting tonight. We pretty much draft every single night on Underdog at midnight Eastern. But the Best Ball Mania winner, the $2 million Best Ball Mania contest last year, had Burrow, had Chase, had Higgins, and Chase Brown. And it was a very affordable package. This year, you've got to take Chase in round 1, you got to take Higgins in round 2, and Burrow in 4 or 5 to get that done, and Chase Brown in 3. So you have to spend your entire beginning of your draft all front loaded on those guys, and that's not the recipe for that, because the reason the person won last year is they purchased all of that at a discount, and then wrapped it up with first and third and fifth round players. So you gotta outthink the process and say, where can you get that this year? Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Pickens is a good one. Another one is JD5. JD5 can go in 3 or 4. So if you go, let's say you have to get JD5 in round 3, JD5, let's say you get McLaurin in 4. And again, I'm not like against McLaurin in 4. I don't love it, but I also think it's a lot better than 3. So McLaurin and JD5 and then Debo here in 6. This is a way to accomplish that. Get Krosky Merritt later. You can get Zach Ertz. Now you have JD5, McLaurin, and Debo, and you still have a first rounder, a second rounder, a fifth rounder to package around that combo. So it's a very, very lucrative stack in 2025 because of the cost of entry. It costs you no first or second round pick to get that stacked. So just keep that in mind. Anything else, Ron, before I move over to Travis?
BBQ. Yeah, only one of your X's count BBQ. You can't just keep Xing and having them add up to 3. you got to get some support there, buddy. Come on. I love you, BBQ,
Ron,
but you just can't keep doing it like that.
Ron, you did start off kind of imbalanced on the show anyway from the jump on the T-Mac thing. It was funny. The whole thing's been kind of...
Don't you miss it?
Yeah.
Come on, we
need more of it. BBQ says Ron needs to spend more time listening to the show. Other content creators are rusting your ships, Ron. BBQ said, spot on, Smitty. Terry hit the ceiling last year. Disappeared in the Falcons game. Debo is the value pick in the offense many rounds later. And again, let me just make it, thank you, BBQ, for both those super chats. Let me make the point abundantly clear. I still love Scary Terry. It's all about cost of entry. It's all about return on investment. It's all about the fact that he's 30 mixed with maybe he's going to hold in / hold out. That will add some injury risk if he does in fact do that. And the reason I think there's at least that conversation at least needs to be had right now that he could hold in, and players hold in now, but they don't work out. It still adds injury risk. The reason I think we're saying that is because today's news report is that they're extremely far apart, and that there's no resolution in sight as of right now, unless the reports are off. But this report's not coming from some Mickey Mouse beat writer. It's coming from ESPN. I'm not saying Jeremy Fowler is 100% on anything, but Terry McLaurin is not happy with where things are with the extension. And that tells me through my 20 plus years of experience that McLaurin probably wants something like top 5 wide receiver numbers, which we've heard whispers about. And the Commanders are like, who you talking about? You get top 5? You've only done it 1 year and you're 30 years old. Like, this is a scary year to be on the Terry McLaurin train because he's 30. Could he have a whole, plug your nose, hold your breath, hope it all works out, and he has a baller 30-year-old season? Yes. That's why I think Ron's not crazy. That's why I think Ron's plan can work. That's why I think Ron also had Hunter in round 5, which is, highway robbery. You had Burrow in 4, which I believe he honestly belongs higher than that, but that's good value, 4-5. That's where Burrow goes. I get Burrow in 6 a lot. You maybe overtook Burrow, maybe, but you couldn't take him at 5 because you were going Hunter. Bottom line, I got Burrow in round 6, like in 3 different drafts, Ron, actually. Burrow's been falling.
Yeah. I've gotten them later too.
But anyway.
But the thing is, I got Jamar and Jaden went already.
Okay.
JD5 went already. So I'm like, I ain't waiting around. I'm taking Burrow here. So I got him earlier than he normally
So anyway,
does.
Top 5 wide receiver numbers is probably what Scary Terry wants. The Commanders are probably saying this. Scary Terry, or T-Mac, as Ron likes to call you. Come here. Come in for a little talk. And they're going to say, young man or old man, you're 30 years old. What you're going to get from us, you're not going to like. It's going to be a very front-loaded, here's a bunch of money up front, signing bonus, thanks for all you've done contract. That's very team-friendly. That's really going to be a 2-year deal. That's what he's going to end up getting. This is not something where Scary Terry walks into we might be shocked, I suppose, that he gets some sort of long-term deal, but I bet you it's team-friendly. And I know he's going to get an extension, but it's gonna have to be some sort of team friendly. In reality, it's a 2-year deal, that they can cut ties, even if it's a 4-year contract or a 2 to 3 year deal with some sort of cut ties. But it's going to be a lot of upfront money. But the problem is, this guy probably is in his head right now going, I can do this for 4 or 5 more years. Like Eckler. Remember Eckler walking into his 28-year-old season? I still got 3 or 4 years left of doing this, and he fell off the face of the earth. Christian McCaffrey thinks he's going to do it. Everybody thinks they're going to do it forever. Everyone thinks they're Derrick Henry. Not everybody's Derrick Henry. It's very, very rare, and no one should ever count on it again. So in terms of wide receivers, that cutoff, that drop-off year is 30. Not saying that Ziggy, how old is Mike Evans? Here's your anomaly.
Mike Evans is 31 years old and was born on August 21st, 1993.
Oh, God, he turns 32. It's such a scary thing walking into a Mike Evans 32-year-old season, because you don't want to be on the wrong side of it, because if he does it again, you're like, damn it. But this is what I tell people. Jump a year early versus a year late, as long as you're stepping into another vehicle that you like just as much. Because this is if you're wrong on Christian McCaffrey and you say he's going to bust and he doesn't, you've got Bucky Irving. You don't care. You're fine with your decision. So same thing with Mike Evans. And for me, Ron feels differently, and I get it. But Scary Terry, I'd rather step into a safer vehicle. And then if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's not that I'm rooting against him, and I don't think he's going to bust. I just think that you got a regression in touchdowns likely to come because of the mere presence of Debo Samuel all on its own. You have the likelihood of injury, and now you have a whole bunch of other factors. But anyway, let me go over to Travis real quick. Travis, what do you think on Terry McLaurin?
Yeah, so let me preface by saying that I think there will be a lot of redraft leagues like the one Ron's talking about, where you'll be able to take a Terry McLaurin in that 3rd round or whatever and not worry about the risk too much, because there's going to be the Hunters and the Burrows and the Breece Halls and guys that fall or are undervalued where you can replace that value. But I worry about McLaurin repeating what he did last year for 2 or 3 reasons, aside from his age. One is just, again, like I was talking about the touchdowns. I think he had 13 touchdowns last year. The chances of that are slim. He never had more than 7 before, So 6, 7, 8 is probably more likely. And 2, Debo's there, so that's less targets go to him. And 3, he's never had more than 134 targets. He's not a target monster type of guy.
He's never had a quarterback, Travis. Until last year, he's never had a quarterback.
And last year, he had the least amount of targets ever. He has a running quarterback.
But he had great productivity.
Run the ball a lot. And he did. And I just am not so sure that the end zone productivity, 13 touchdowns, is going to come. I think he can be a top 15 guy. I don't think he can be a top 10 wide receiver.
And I'm not even talking redraft. I'm talking best ball here, where I took him. I didn't take him in the redraft. I took him in best ball.
John. Yeah, that's a really good point. Let me hammer that home real quickly. But Jonathan, you're spreading fake news in here. He says he's only 29. He's still got 2 to 3 years left. Bro, he's turning 30 right when the season begins. So it's not true. He's 30. He's 30. He will be 30 years old. So 30 years old, not 29. As for what Travis just said and what Ron Navy just confirmed, that he believes that in best ball, he can get injured, and as long as he doesn't maybe miss an entire season practically and gets hurt in week 1, he still can earn a lot of his value in best ball. So like, let's say he missed 4 games in between, his good finish and good beginning. Then it's like you got a damn good best ball player. I think best ball is a lot smarter. I think T. Higgins is great in best ball. I don't draft him at all in non-best ball. Terry McLaurin is probably a little bit of that type of player where you're going to draft him a lot more in best ball and not like him at all in non-best ball because of what you end up missing out on in, whereas, like, let me give you this example. if you take Terry McLaurin in the 3rd round in a non-best ball, you miss out on the RBs like Harvey. You miss out on the RBs like, well, Hampton. I guess Harvey you could still get. Hampton, Kyron, and some other players. But in non-best ball, you can grab Garendo, you can grab Tootin, you can grab all these guys, and one of them or two of them will pop and rotate and fill the void that you couldn't possibly fill in redraft and non-best ball. So that's why some players are, people wonder why is Higgins a good best ball player but not a good non-best ball player. It's because of that reason. You have all this arsenal of weaponry that can be shoved into your lineup in optimal format, where your lineup is an optimal format set for you. You don't ever make any decisions in best ball. Your best players start for you every week. So that's why a Scary Terry is a little bit more attractive in a best ball format.
Well, and that's my point too, is the fact that I'm not taking Scary Terry in the 3rd round in the redraft, or I'm not taking him probably more like I'm totally in the Dynasty. I ain't touching them. So I mean, I'm not stupid, but in this, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. Because best ball is different. So there's different strategies for the players. If you take somebody high in best ball, doesn't mean you take them high in redrafts or Dynasty.
Ricky's dropping.
Yeah, I guess
that's not how I feel about it.
Space Ricky's dropping the contract of Calvin Ridley, 4-year, $92 million contract with Tennessee, including $20 million signing bonus, $50 million guaranteed. I mean, it's a good point that he's going to probably be able to sniff $23 million a year, but that's nowhere near top, 5 wide receiver numbers. So he's got to be careful.
You can't blame him. I mean, he's trying to get the bag. It's his last chance to get a bag, and he's trying to get it. So you can't blame him for doing it. I mean, he probably knows in the back of his mind, there's no way I'm going to get top 5 money, but I gotta push as hard as I can to get as much as I can, because this is it.
I'd also argue that, that is one benchmark, but then you have guys like Chris Godwin and Stephon Diggs, who are around the same age too, who just took contracts more recently, where Godwin kind of screwed up.
But what contract?
And Diggs was hurt. I understand now.
Yeah, and what contracts? People need to realize contracts look one way, but they're in reality another way. Like here is the actual Ridley contract. Potential out is after this coming season, so it's a 2-year deal essentially. If the team wants it, it's a 2-year deal. So that's kind of the way they're going to structure this McLaurin deal. And I bet you McLaurin doesn't like that. He doesn't like making $23 million per year. But, I think what it's going to come down to is, bro, this is your last contract. You can't afford to mess up. He will fold. Terry McLaurin will fold, because if they hand him, let's see, this guaranteed at signing is $46 million for Ridley. Let's say they hand him 44 or 45 million or 42 million. You really going to turn down 43 million guaranteed at signing at 30 years old? He's not. He's not walking into a season and putting it on the line and betting on himself. He's literally just trying to push the envelope as far as he can, and then he's gonna say, okay, let's do it. But
yeah, you can't blame him.
Godwin had 44 million guaranteed at signing, with an out after year 2.
That's what it's going to be. But I'm telling you, that's what he probably doesn't like. He doesn't like that it's really essentially a 2-year deal. And he doesn't like the fact that he's probably getting paid $23, $22, $24 million. He wants to make 30 plus. He wants to be what Brandon Ayuk. I'm better than Brandon Ayuk is what he's saying. And I don't blame him. He is. He's way better than Brandon Ayuk. But he's going to be $7 million less a year, or $6 million, or at least $5 million less a year. Brandon Ayuk was a bad contract by a team that didn't know what the hell they were doing that entire offseason, like every offseason with the Niners. I mean, they're the worst with personnel in the offseason. They're so bad. Brandon Ayuk, $30 million per year? What a debacle. I can't blame a Scary Terry looking over and going, why is Brandon Ayuk $30 million a year? What?
They could give him a bunch of benchmarks in his contract too. Say, hey, if you do this, we'll give you this bonus. If you do this, if you reach this, we'll give you this bonus. They could load it up that way too.
All right, I got a bunch of people on the phone line. Let me swing around and see what everybody's doing here. We got 901 caller. You're live. Everybody else, hang tight for me. I'll try and speed along here. 901 caller. You've been waiting a long time. What can I do for you? Then a rock out.
Hey, what's going on, Smitty? Just real quick, I wanted you to, since we're on the topic of Terry, I wanted you to rank these four for Dynasty. Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, and Calvin Ridley.
McLaurin, Godwin, Ridley, and who?
Ridley and DJ Moore.
I mean,
counting the guys who were late 20s, early 30s.
I mean, I don't want any of these guys in my Dynasty team, I suppose. I'd say McLaurin.
Well, they're competing,
McLaurin
right?
is number one. I think DJ Moore probably number two.
Even with the Chicago situation, that doesn't.
I think he's out of there after this year. So, I mean, I'm trying to look at this a little bit long term. I think Godwin being banged up still, we don't even know how healthy he is, you know. Ridley, I kind of like Ridley, but I don't know that he's got a lot of time left. I kind of like Ridley a little more each day, but I'd probably say from a Dynasty perspective, I want McLaurin and DJ Moore, and then Ridley and Godwin, I just don't know how to value them, man, other than to say I maybe Godwin. Ziggy, how old is Calvin Ridley? Let's find his birthday.
He's 30 years old and was born December 20th.
December, so he turns 31, bro, during the season. Hell no. No Dynasty value for me. Godwin's younger, but he's so injury prone and he's not even healthy now. Yeah, it's a tier break. It's McLaurin, DJ Moore tier break. But I get out of that value.
I kind of like Ridley. I feel like Ridley, you don't think just because of that one season he had where he was suspended that he might have a slightly longer shelf life?
No, once you get over 30, bro, it's your body's your body. It comes down to your body. It comes down to your joints. Yeah. It comes down to, it's not like and taking time off never helps your body get to a more peak optimal form. Never. Josh Gordon, or even Ricky Williams, like that was the closest thing we had to somebody like taking off time, coming back, and like it just doesn't work. The odds are extremely against it that he bought himself some extra time or something. But I think that, for 1 year, if you're looking at this at a rent-a-player perspective, Ridley could be the best one on the board for the 2025 season. It's possible. I think Cam Moore looks fantastic, bro.
Me too, as a Titans fan.
Yeah.
Love it. Cool, man.
All right, bro. Later. Appreciate you. All right, rock out. You're live.
Yep.
And then I think the other caller hung up. Rock out. Rock out.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to McLaurin, I don't really think he's frustrated about the contract. I think they're just not giving out information and nobody's saying anything, so they're basically having a narrative like, oh, he's frustrated about his contract. But ultimately, I think the deal gets done either like a week before training camp or the week of training camp, and I think he'll be between like 32 to 34 million. And as far as his like value,
32 to 34 million, did you just say?
32
the Washington
to
man.
34.
Wow.
Feeling positive.
Do I
like
think
it.
Rockout's crazy right now? No, because we've seen crazy contracts get signed before. But I don't know if he gets over 30, I'll
on a short-term deal.
You what?
I just think I'll do a used contract, but on a short-term deal.
30 million a year, man, is a lot of money. I don't know. I mean, I think Ayuk is kind of like, Deshaun Watson's contract. You got to just ignore it. Move around it. I don't know. 30 million, like 30 million a year is a lot. I'm thinking Rock Out, he's going to be pushing 25, and that's why he's mad. I think he is mad. This isn't the first time we've heard he's upset. This is not the first time. From different people. It could be the same originating report. It's possible. Or we're dealing with sometimes some shoddy beat reporter type stuff that triggers something and then everybody picks it up. But I don't know, bro. I feel like 32 to 34 is wildly high. But I mean, rock out. We've seen crazier things happen. You know what was
that's the market.
You know what was the inverse crazy of this? Godwin's deal. Because Godwin screwed himself. Godwin could have got $30 million a year. Godwin could have easily got $30 million a year, and he went the complete opposite direction. He said, "I'll take not only less money, I'll take you can chip off 20% of that, and I'll just take it." It was weird.
How much did he get?
Let me ask Kruger.
I got it right here. Godwin.
He has a lot of injuries,
though. 3 years, $66 million, with 44 guaranteed, with an out after the second year.
Yeah, that's wild. 3 years, 60.
Be a little bit higher than him, but yeah.
20. Yeah, that's.
What did the Commanders say, Debo?
22 million is crazy. Debo's gone. He's still on his contract.
Paying 18, 19 this year.
Yeah, I'll pull up Debo's contract, but
didn't he cut his contract to be something like Diggs, and then it's 18, 19 instead of keeping it for 3 years? He's down to 1.
It's 1 year. No, it's 1 year regardless.
Yeah, he's got one year, $17.5 million deal. But Debo knows that. I mean, he's an unrestricted free agent next year, so they'll either. I mean, you could tag him if you want. Let's say he balled the hell out. I doubt they tag him, but if they tagged him or something, then he'd be plenty happy with that tag amount. It's not like the tag amount would make Debo upset, but they probably. I doubt they would tag him. He wouldn't be that valuable, I don't think. But he's gonna want to stay. Debo is about championships at this point. He's gonna ring chase, and he doesn't even need to chase it. It's right in front of him. And he's going to want to stay. The last thing Debo is going to want to do is go build a new rapport. And if he plays well, they'll pay him enough that he'll just stay. I mean, he's an older player. He knows he's not getting some. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he thinks he's going to get a big deal. I mean, look, Terry McLaurin, he's a year behind Terry McLaurin. You know what? Never mind. Let me back off that. He's a year behind Terry McLaurin age-wise, and Terry McLaurin's making a big fuss. Why wouldn't Debo? Debo's going to make a big fuss next year. I don't know. But he'll be an unrestricted free agent, so he can really. I think he'll want to stay though. But this is Debo's deal right now. It's a $17.5 million annual salary. He definitely deserves way more than that. But we'll see. Some people don't think so.
But he came over with a great attitude, though.
They love him there, Debo.
Yeah.
It's 85 love.
Yeah, he's hungry. He
came over to say he needs to be the best version of himself. That he's gonna bust his butt to be the best version that he can possibly be, and so he came over with the right attitude, saying the right thing.
Yeah, let me ask Kruger something here. Kruger, do you have Debo Samuel's contract incentives handy? What Debo can make extra money on? Let's see if you can provide some.
It might be too difficult.
It takes forever these days.
Right, so it looks like Debo has a guaranteed $17 million for the 2025 season. And there's an additional $3 million in incentives tied to his performance. The exact details of those incentives are not publicly listed, but it gives him a nice little boost to be hits those targets.
That's it, a boost to be hits those targets. All right, anyway, let me circle around the phone line real quickly. I've got the 586 caller back on the line. You're live. What can I do for you? Who is this? Matthew?
What's up, Smitty? It's Matt. Matt over on Patreon.
What's up, Matt?
I got a question. I've got a guy in my league, Dynasty, who's making fun of me for drafting Debo because I'm on Debo. I agree with you. I think a lot of people agree with you. He sent a photo of Debo, looking a little chubby in his Niners uniform. He's like, wow, you really drafted Debo. Wow. And I'm like, listen, Debo comeback season. But I want to make a bet with this guy because he said, let's bet on it. And I said, Debo's going to have a better season than last year. So I know we did this with Travis Hunter last night, but if you're cool with it, can you maybe write up a stat line? What do you think receptions, touchdowns, yards for Debo this year. Something that we can take, and I can maybe bet with
Well,
this guy.
well, here, but just, if he sends you a link, just send him this link. Just send him my Instagram where you got Debo hopping up off one knee and making these hard, crazy cuts, bro. Send him the next video I have on my Instagram shows Debo running like 21 miles, 22 miles per hour, whatever the hell he's running there. Like, I mean, look, I could send a picture of, tell your friend to bend over and snap a photo of him. Like, look at your belly, bro. Look at your belly. Like, everybody could look different ways in different photos. Like, let him hate. And who even cares, bro? Who even cares? Let him hate Debo. Let him hate Debo. Go, yeah, my Debo is so bad, isn't he? Can't wait for Debo to... Let me throw some stats for you. I would say, you know, if we look at Debo's... Let me pull up Debo's career stats. But don't worry about what he thinks. Let him hate. And...
No, I'm not. He's just like, let's bet on it. And I'm like, all right, fine. I mean, he had 51 receptions, 670 yards, and 3 touchdowns last year. He's definitely
you got to be careful with Debo's stat lines, though, because he's such a weird stat producer. So what I would do is bet fantasy points against somebody, because you might get like way more rushing yards than you think, and it might be like a different output. Like Debo. Okay. Hold on. Here's Debo's receiving yards over the last handful of years from we'll go all the way from top to bottom. So 802, 391. He had 3 and 1. He had 1405, and he had 6. He had 632 and 2, 892 and 7, and 670 and 3. That was his last handful of years receiving. Then he had, rushing. He had 159 and 3, 26 and 0, 365 and 8. He had 232 and 3, 225 and 5, and 136 and 1. So let me just give you my expectation here for how they're going to use him.
Definitely
I would,
screenplay.
yeah, I would say this. I think Debo, there's a chance he has like one of those 1,000-yard seasons because they're going to use him differently. But let's throw 900 receiving. But again, I wouldn't necessarily bet on these exact numbers because he could just have a weird season. 906 receiving, and then something along the lines of he's at a 159, a 20. He got injured that year. 365, 232, 225, 136. I would say like 175 rushing yards and like 2 touchdowns. So probably going to have like 1,000 to 1,200 total yards minimum and 8 touchdowns is what I would think. But I don't know how he's going to balance that out. And reception wise, maybe it's 80, but that's his floor. So that would be his floor. 80, 900. Let me write it out. Let me write it a little bit bigger. So this is his floor. I'd say 80, 950, 6 with probably something along the lines of one, we'll call it 150 and 2 rushing touchdowns. His ceiling could be, I don't know if it'll be like a ton more receptions, but I'd say like 90, 1,100, 7 to 8 TDs, 175 and 2 to 3 TDs. So you've got a ceiling value of 10 to 11 TDs, 1,100 yards, 90 receptions, but a floor of 80, 956, 152. I mean, I think that's good. Like if he has these numbers here and he has 8 total touchdowns, and I mean it's a nice season. The 150 rushing yards helps. It's not like he's a lock to do anything in like the top 4, top 3, or top 5, but I think there's maybe even more ceiling than that. But would I go betting on numbers? No, because he's such a unique player. They might run. He might have 300 yards rushing. I don't know.
So you think fantasy points?
I would say he has somebody on his team. Who's he got on his team?
Oh, this guy? Oh, I got a sleeper. Hold on. I'm opening
right.
sleeper.
Hang tight. Put yourself on mute. Put yourself on mute real quick.
All right, let's go.
Okay. Jared says PPR Dynasty, Chase Brown, Terry for Bucky, 26 second. Good. Chase Brown and Scary Terry for Bucky in a 26 second. I mean, you could argue Chase Brown is so good that, if you can win now, this could hurt you, but I'd rather have Bucky personally, bro. So I'm going to say Bucky. Chat, can you vote on that one? Would you rather have Bucky and in the second or McLaurin and Chase Brown. That's a tough one. People were stunned when the Bucks drafted Ibuka, but they were telling all of us that what they think about Godwin and Evans' age and their health draft the value. You know what? Ibuka is very similar to the drafting of Gibbs in Detroit. Everybody freaked out at first. It's crowded. I don't like it. And it ended up being a beautiful landing spot. Not to mention they traded Swift right away. But yeah, Ibuka at first, everyone and their mother, including me, was like, whoa, wait a minute. And then you're like, well, wait a minute. It's a great landing spot. It really is. The Bucks did a fantastic job. And the fact that Ibuka has been a rover, he's literally played with the best wide receivers in college football. The wide receivers he's used to playing with in college are better than the wide receiver room he's playing on in Tampa Bay right now. That's not me exaggerating. He literally, Evans at his current age and where Evans is at now, Godwin injury prone, getting older. Ibuka has played with better college wide receivers. His room was more talented in college. Played with Jeremiah Smith. Played with JSN. Played with everyone you can think of. This guy has played with them, and he's been a rover. Hey, this guy, you got to move over here. Hey, move over here. He's literally the adapt artist that you want in that situation. Debo was looking like Fat Elvis, but he is going to be a chess piece for the Commanders, playing for a contract. Dude maneuvers in traffic like a magician. He is going way late by on the dip. The crazy part about Debo, as I always explain, is when somebody says, and you can say this to your buddy, when somebody says, oh, he looks slow or whatever, he doesn't look slow, first of all. Show him my Instagram reels if you even care. Let him think what he wants. But the crazy part is Debo, that's how Debo navigates lanes. That's how Debo's running like he's stutter stepping the entire way down the field. And then he just slings people off him because they can't tackle him. He gets ushered out of bounds or he ends up in the end zone. That's why he's one of the best yak yardage players to ever play the game at the wide receiver position. He's fantastic, but he doesn't play any different. Anybody that's watched Debo Samuel play has watched Debo Samuel literally just scamper around the field at like 80% speed. All right, real quickly, bro, and then I got to move on. What's the guy got on his team? What wide receivers is he going to bank on?
Well, he's got Neighbors in London and T. Higgins. It's Dynasty.
Those guys are going to outscore Debo, but I mean, you never know with Higgins, but he could get hurt. But what's his team? Who's his favorite team?
I don't know. I don't know what his favorite team is.
All right, well,
I'll find out
last
for
thing
you
I'll
and
say,
I'll report back.
Who cares really?
Quick,
but last thing I'll say is tell him, well, name somebody that's going to outscore Debo then, and let him drag somebody out of the cellar, some cellar dweller, and make him make a bold statement and then take him on. All right, last question.
Yeah, you said so. You talked about fantasy points in most standard redraft PPR leagues. Debo scored somewhere around 95 PPR points. In standard PPR redraft leagues, if you were to guess,
I don't know.
In fantasy points, what do you think he's?
I mean, what I just gave you calculated out, but 80. I said 80, 950. We'll call it 6 to 7 TDs, 175 rushing, and 2 TDs. So just pencil that out, and that's what you got. All right, bro.
I appreciate you, Smitty. Adios.
All right, back over to Rodney.
Hey, Smitty,
right,
I'm
Ron
gonna
Navy,
go.
appreciate you, bro. Later. Ron
All right,
Navy.
later.
Rock out. Rock out.
Ron.
What do you got? What do you hear? What do you say?
When it comes to like aging like wide receivers, what light do you see Terry, Mike Evans, and Devontae Adams as far as their production and their values?
Adams, same again?
Adams, Mike Evans, and Terry.
I don't know, man. These are really tough calls here. Adams, I think, has a great year, but he's also, he's old. He's 31. Ziggy, how old is Devontae Adams?
Davante Adams is 32 years old.
32.
December 24th.
So, he turns 30. That's right. He turns 33 during the season. Like, that's another thing is, like, we're going to be critical of players. We have to be honest and say there's a huge risk level with Adams at some point. But I still think he eats into Puka's numbers when he's healthy. But Adams is also kind of a little bit of a special player. I'm not saying you can't say Terry won't be special. I'm not saying you can't. Adams feels a little bit of that variety. Mike Evans, could play at 32. Adams could play at 32. These are special players. Their route running, precision and Evans' size, Adams' route running, he's such an amazing route runner. He could squeeze out an extra year, but that's scary. 33 years old during the season. That's crazy. That's crazy. Dynasty value, you're saying, or just this year?
Just this year.
I don't know.
Redraft.
You want me to rank them, or you just want me to rank them?
Sure. That depends where you get them.
I don't know, bro. I guess, cost of entry could change this a little bit. I'm going to say Evans 1, Adams 2, Terry 3. And how close is it? I think really close between Evans and Adams. I think not super close. I think Terry's good, but I think he's a little bit off from those guys. It's going to come down to who misses more games between Adams and Evans. And one of them, the likelihood of them both staying healthy is almost slim to none. I think one of them is going to get hit hard with injuries, and maybe all three of these guys. 32 years old is crazy. Turning 33 in December, that's wild. That is tough. John says, "Can you please make more Dynasty rookie content?" I mean, I have a whole row of rookie player content videos, John, on my YouTube. Go to my YouTube, scroll down. About the second grouping of videos is all rookie players, individual videos on every rookie you can think of. But I mean, I'm always doing Dynasty. I'll be doing a lot more Dynasty content. A lot of the uploads that you're going to be getting at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time, nearly every day a lot of them will be Dynasty. So you'll get more. Rock out. Final thought.
Yeah, I think between all of them, they're all good players, but
McLaurin.
You're just getting them basically at their ceilings for most of them.
Yeah, it's tough to buy them. McLaurin is BBQ dropping 20 gifted memberships like a freaking monster.
$50. Give me $50, holla. Like that by the brother, Smitty. Give me.
All right, rock out. Appreciate you. Give me a McLaurin stat line real quickly, and then I'll hang up on you.
See, 1,200, 9 touchdowns. How many receptions he had last year?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
85
How many?
receptions.
95?
85 receptions.
All right, thank you, rock out. Appreciate you, bro. Travis, Bruce is on the line. God, Bruce, I'm sorry. Bruce, what can they do for you? I'll give you a few minutes here.
Okay, Smitty. I have a question for you. Why do you think why are older receivers taking the time? It kind of makes me feel like McLaurin's trying to do what Diggs did with the Texans, which is like, look, I'll sign like a short-term deal, or I'll do like a 1-year deal, but to earn the big payday.
I think sometimes receivers are looking at the increased market, like that's climbing, and I think what Diggs was probably thinking was, I'm going to take away my contract years. Remember, he nixed like 3 of them, and he wanted to go down to that 1-year deal, because I think he thought that his contract, and he might be right. We'd have to look at the numbers, but the values would climb so much that, the $30 million for Ayuk, would be a springboard, and then everybody's signing these deals that even a player like Diggs on a 1-year deal might be able to get like that $40 million, upfront guarantee, I think is what he's probably thinking. And that might be where their head's at. Like the value's climbing so much. If you get that 1 to 2 year deal and you're in the age range of, if you went 3 to 4, you might not get that second contract. But if you go 1 to 2, you can get 2 contracts instead of 1. That's kind of what these wide receivers, I think. The only weird thing is some of these guys think that their age doesn't matter, And I can understand that, because if I was a player, I would think I was special too. I'd be like, no, 30 years old might not be what other people can do at 30, but watch me. Everyone thinks that about themselves. But I think that's probably what these wide receivers are thinking. I don't want to lock myself into a deal. Like, look at Mahomes. Mahomes signed that $500 million 10-year deal. And now he's like, what? Not even top 8 quarterback, pay. So that's what I think the wide receivers are thinking. Every year, the salary cap climbs about 20%, or every 2 years it climbs about 20%, I think. All right. What else?
Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering,
And you don't, you got it when you got to pay for, Cardi B stuff, and then you break up with Cardi B like Diggs. If anybody didn't know, it looks like Diggs might have stepped out. This is a rumor. I don't know if Diggs was the cause, but Diggs might have stepped out of the relationship, which is par for the course of what Diggs is used to doing. And then Cardi B deleted all of her photos of Diggs off her IG, and now they're in some sort of, social media mess. And who knows if that'll be good for Diggs or bad for Diggs. I don't know. Diggs seems like the kind of guy that doesn't care. So I don't know that he's gonna be sad about it. And I heard he broke up with her, maybe, or I don't know. I don't think he cares. I don't think Diggs cares about anybody but himself. And so this probably won't affect him at all. I don't know what's gonna affect him. All I know is that, he's got to stay healthy. But Diggs is definitely a problem, a locker room problem. And there's a reason why teammates, when asked the question, who would you least like to date your sister? The answer is always Stephon Diggs. Always Stephon Diggs. Now, does that make him a bad football player? No. But he's definitely like a menace, man. He's a straight up menace. Oh, boy. All right, Bruce, anything else?
Do you think JD5 is going to lean more toward McLaurin or Debo this year? Or is that like kind of like
I would imagine he'd have a little bit of that rapport, polarizing rapport with McLaurin that's going to be more attractive to a fantasy football drafter. But again, the cost of entry, though, is Debo going to be utilized on a lot of designed runs and jet sweeps and, plays where he's literally throwing the ball behind JD5. It becomes a run, like design plays. And remember, Adam Peters, he doesn't design plays, but, he brought him over for a reason to fit this offense, and they're in constant communication. I mean, it's not like Adam Peters is like making decisions without talking to Kingsbury and playing like they want to build something very, very special. And I don't think they went and got Debo for nothing. Like Adam Peters is a very, very picky trade person, and he values draft picks. He values like capital in a very unique way. He loves younger players, and for him to go get Debo Samuel speaks volumes about Debo. Speaks volumes about how much they want to use him. And if he stays healthy, Debo's value goes to the moon. I might even be a little bit under on his floor numbers, to be honest, because it's easy to look at his game log and say, it's easy to look at his past and say, oh, he's not a 1,000-yard receiver, but he really can be. He could be a 10, 90, and 7 TD guy. And if that guy's still listening from the earlier call, I don't think that this is crazy. We'll call it 82 receptions, 10, 90, and 7. I think he can do that with 150 rushing, and we'll call it 1 TD. Let's take away some of his rushing to account for this. I think this is a very realistic line for Debo Samuel outside of San Francisco, where they don't want to run him into the ground. rushing the ball, and they want to actually deploy him as a receiver. And everybody that says he can't get open off the line of scrimmage, they're going to figure out ways. Not to mention, does anybody understand that defenses are constantly having to account for JD5 and spy JD5? Debo Samuel is going to have different coverages than he's ever had before. This is going to be a pretty amazing setup for Debo Samuel to finally be a receiver more than a runner. And make no mistake, they want to wide back the guy. But wide back doesn't mean running back. It means as a wide receiver, he's catching the ball. And it's just a matter of where he's catching it. Is he behind JD5? Is he at the line of scrimmage? That's what wide back is. Wide back is not running back. That was not the Niners morphing the two worlds together. Debo Samuel doesn't need up the gut carries. These are reception plays that are just caught behind JD5, becomes a run. That's what wide back is. Wide back is being a running back out wide, not behind JD5, not up the gut. So they're going to wide back the guy, but they're also going to probably make him a little bit more of a wide receiver. So I amend my projection. I'm going to say 82, 1090, 7, 150, and 1.
Okay. I got one question for you that is kind of weird.
All right, last one.
Now, we go based off of ADP, right?
No.
What if you already have a position? Did you go for ADP in that position,
No.
right?
I don't go off ADP. I manipulate ADP. I use ADP to my advantage. I don't draft off ADP.
Because I was going to say, what if you draft Burrow and then you go on ADP and then the best player is Mahomes? And we're like, well, we did that.
I don't understand. What...
I don't want to go into my draft. I don't want to go into a draft and then draft someone and the best player available is Mahomes, but I already drafted Burrow and they got the same bye week.
I'm not really following. So you're look, first of all, in best ball, you can bully QB all day long because even if they have the same bye week, it's amazing. But in non-best ball, yeah, if you draft a quarterback early like Burrow and then Mahomes is there, you can't really take him unless it's really weirdly late, and you could say, I can get away with this. But then you're also trying to trade one of them later because having two quarterbacks like that, you're going to get it wrong every week. That's why bully quarterback is only a best ball strategy. But, I mean, it's as simple as this, Bruce. You're on the clock. Who's the best pick to take? Who's the best player available? And you're not drafting off ADP. You're drafting the best player available. If you're sitting there inside round number 4 and you've got Hampton there, you've got a guy like, I don't know, name a fourth rounder you like. Travis Hunter. Okay,
I like
Hunter. You got these guys.
I like Hunter and
okay, go ahead.
I like Hunter and I like sometimes he's there and he falls and sometimes he doesn't, but oh man, I'm trying to think of his sometimes I don't know, he went up recently, but I forgot his name.
You obviously don't love him that much. I'm just kidding.
I really
he fell completely out of your mind in the fourth round.
Started.
All right. Well, anyway, let's move on. Hampton, let's say, if you could take Burrow or Hampton, or Burrow or Hunter, then you're in a dilemma. You have I like this. I like all three of them, but you could say, let me bank on Mahomes dropping, and I'll go Burrow. I'll pass over Burrow, take Hampton, take Hunter, and then when you get to round 5 or 6, you take Mahomes. But no one's saying you can't take Burrow in round 4 just because Mahomes is going to be available later, bro. You don't have to take both of them just because Mahomes is there. Like Mahomes is great value, but Burrow can be great value in round 4 as well. It's just a matter of who's there. Who's there? Take them. Do it live. It's always best player available, Bruce. What I try and tell people is, people that say, hey, help me pick a strategy. Should I go hero RB? Should I go 0 running back? How should I deploy my draft? I'm picking from the 1.4. You'd be surprised at how many times I get asked that damn question every single day. Smitty, I'm drafting at 1.4. What do I do? You know what I answer every single time? you take the best player available. And you know your league. You got to know your league because best player available isn't ADP. That's computer drafting. That's auto picking. Best player available is encompassing everything about your league. My league mates are going to go heavy RB. So that changes your best player available. It's a Superflex. That changes best player available. It's a league where you get tight end premium points and it's 1 QB. That changes best player available. Everything is not about ADP. It's about manipulating ADP. So if someone's got the 1.4 and they say, what do? I tell them, well, if your league is running back heavy, you might want to look at getting Gibbs there before they fly off the board. You could also draft against traffic, but traditionally, if they're RB heavy, then a lot of wide receivers will be available in the second and third round for you to be plenty okay waiting. Like London falls a lot deeper round 2 in a running back hungry environment. Is it 10-man league? Is it 12-man league? I can't just tell someone to go 0 RB because the best player available approach is what has you reflect later on. And the true, really good drafter will just say after his draft, that's funny. I guess I drafted hero RB. Like how you draft should be like a reflection, not a plan that you cement in place. That's like saying, okay, during a chess game, I'm going to move my pawn to this space and I'm going to move my rook to this space on the 4th and 5th move. No matter what, I'm just going to do it. That is stupidity. You know, you can reflect back on your board and say, wow, I pulled this maneuver. I made this move. I did this move. Or when you're on the clock or when you're on the spot to make your chess move, you can make a move and plan for something. But people that think that they got to draft a certain way or hero RB always works for me. Every year I do good with hero RB. You do good with hero RB the years you do good because it all lined up for hero RB. That's why you did good for hero RB. You know, and maybe you're a little bit better at hero RB than other draft strategies, so you do pretty well. But maybe you didn't draft the most maximized team you could have drafted if you had gone best player available. Best player available is your number one draft strategy. Everything else is a sub strategy that a door opens up to. And you can look ahead and say, it looks like I'm going toward a hero RB approach. But you better be damn certain that you have the ability to change directions and abort whatever plan you think you're deploying if the value on the board screams, take me. You know, if Harvey's sitting there in round 6 at the top of 6, or Joe Burrow falls to the middle of the 6th round, but you have your heart set on Mahomes because you got Rice on your team, you better abort and take advantage of Joe Burrow, who slipped 2 rounds and he shouldn't have. Or if Travis Hunter's there, like in Ron's case at 5.3 or 5.4, and you planned on going RB there, guess what? You better take Travis Hunter. It's just everything's about when you're on the clock, considering all of the lay of the land. Of course, that's included in best player available. What is the best pick every time you're on the clock? Too many people draft a position. It's not drafting a position, you draft a player. You don't draft ADP, Bruce. You draft a player. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Okay. Yeah, because I just they changed the thing. I never did Superflex, but they're doing Superflex and they're doing the tight end premium, and I never did it. And I'm like, oh man, I'm in trouble.
Well, Superflex is pretty easy. Just draft QB round 1. Hopefully you don't have a late pick. Nix is your saving grace if you need to go another quarterback. All right, bro. Okay. Appreciate you. Bruce to the moon.
Yep.
Travis, any final thoughts?
Yeah, just on Terry McLaurin, like, I think he's a really good player, but I still keep going back to, like, the target share, and I wonder how he's going to ever get, 140, 150 type targets that most of your top 5, top 10 fantasy wide receivers get. You know, last year he was able to break into that. You know, I think he was wide receiver 7 in the Marsman League, so that wide receiver 6, 7 range, because he had 13 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know? if you're not getting 90 to 100 plus catches, and that's hard to do without getting 140 plus targets. It's just a game of numbers where it becomes really hard to get to there. Like, whereas opposed to Garrett Wilson, who I know, contrast what Ron said, he likes Terry McLaurin and Wilson right now.
Yeah.
No matter who he's been with, Wilson gets 140, 150 yards.
Well, I think that the way you got to look at it Hunter calling real quick. The way you got to look at it is that JD5 is going to get better. So on that angle of it, right? Yeah. JD5 is going to get better. He'll throw more. So on that angle, Terry McLaurin's targets can go up from that perspective. Debo Samuel is going to be a factor as well that's going to potentially pull on some of those targets downward again. So like you could almost say JD5 getting better and Debo there could wash and put McLaurin right in the same space maybe. Like, so I can understand like where someone like Ron could be coming from. But then you have the 30-year-old potential holdout, other part of it, 30 that could, it's just a concern. I don't know how much, we don't really know, but that there's all of that. I just think that JD5, we can't assume he doesn't throw a ton more this year. He's scratching at the surface. So there is room for McLaurin to continue doing what he does with Debo being added to the roster. But I think this is the more concerning part, that he's 30 years old and that he might be holding, and we'll just see how that develops. But yeah, I would say don't count out JD5 making up this difference, between Debo and no Debo.
Yeah, it's a good question as to how much more they will throw. I actually don't know off the top of my head how many times he threw last year. I think it was 480 times. So yeah, he could throw.
Well, even if he doesn't throw it, maybe he's accurate.
Sure.
Like Jaden Daniels. Let me put up his stats.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have a ton more yards and probably at least 5 to 7 to 8 more passing touchdowns, in my opinion. So that should account for Debo's. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like there's that way to look at it. But my bigger concern is that you have not only that has to happen, but McLaurin has to stay healthy. But yeah, I mean 35-68, that's 16th in the NFL. I don't see a reason why JD5 doesn't throw for 4,300 yards. Like that's going to be way more than 500. And then 25 TDs. He could throw. He runs more. And it's not like you can't throw and run, but when you run touchdowns in, you have less opportunity to throw because you've already scored and you're not on the ball anymore. Like, so I could see him being at 31, 32, 33. I easily could see that. So there's more touchdowns there. So I do think there's a world where JD5 goes up more than Debo tears down the opportunity for McLaurin. It's just, this is my big concern. 30 years old, but it's a good.
Yeah, no, it is a good point though, because like he ran 148 times, so he'll probably stay in that 150 range for runs, but he could throw it easily 100.
But what did McLaurin rank though last year?
What do you mean?
Out of all wide receivers, what was his rank? Let me pull that up.
Like his fantasy rank?
Yeah, what did he finish as? Wide receiver what? Let me see. Stats 2024.
I think it was 7.
Okay, so I guess you got to ask yourself, replication of those numbers last year. Not to mention, I think that last year's number 7 will be, in my opinion, will be wide receiver 9, 10, or 11 this year. That's just my gut, is there's going to be a lot more scoring. I think Drake London takes a huge step. I think BT, JJ scores more. I think, guys like Lamb, who had their quarterback down and out. Drake London didn't have a quarterback until the end of the year. JSN is going to take a big step forward. Garrett Wilson didn't have a lot of consistency. I just think there's going to be a lot of high-scoring players. But the question is replication. So 82 receptions for McLaurin, 1096 and 13 TDs. I believe that he could at least, with the increase of yardage and TDs for JD5, I believe he can easily get to like this number. Maybe it's 10 TDs instead of 13. I think that JD5's increase could help wash the Debo Samuel effect, and who knows who JD5 spreads the ball to. Just because JD5 gets better doesn't mean it's all going to McLaurin. So I think that Debo takes a big chunk of it, but I think you could still get this number right here: 82, 1096, and 10 TDs instead of 13. It's literally the exact same season, just 3 less touchdowns, and that probably puts him somewhere along the lines of like wide receiver 14, 13, 15. And I just don't know that I want.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. 15.
Yeah, third round value is a lot for him at this number. All right, Travis, appreciate you, bro. See you tonight.
Yep. Thanks,
right,
Smitty.
see you
I'll talk to you later. Yes, sir.
All right, we got one more caller on the line here. 2 more. I'm sorry. Joel, real quickly, Joel.
Yeah, just real quick. I just think both Debo and McLaurin are both going to play well. JD5 is going to spread the ball around. It's going to be a great offense. Like McLaurin, round 3 is a little early, but he could live up to the hype. I just think both are going to play well.
Yeah, like I said on my earlier take, was that could it happen? Yes, but am I wanting to spend this third round value? He has to smash. You have no room for error, so that's why I don't like third round McLaurin value. Fourth round, I feel more comfortable. Fifth round, I would run to draft him. So it's just a line in the sand, right? My line in the sand is in the fourth round. But I think sometimes this third round value, especially on Underdog, where we'll be drafting tonight, promo code Smitty, link is pinned in the live chat. Code Smitty gets it done as well. If you want to draft with us tonight and see where McLaurin goes, please hit this link. I just dropped it again, but it's in the description if you're watching the video. We'll see where Terry McLaurin goes, but third round doesn't package in any sort of like regression is the only concern. That's all the point is tonight. It's not that he can't do it. It's not that it's impossible. It's just it doesn't package in any risk. We're paying a price tag we didn't pay last year, and it doesn't feel good. Last year we crushed on McLaurin.
Yeah, I agree. It's got to be one of the last 2 third round picks. The last pick in the third round.
Yeah, if you got back-to-backs, I treat it like a fourth rounder, yeah. All right, bro.
Yeah.
All right, call him tonight. Later.
Right, later.
Hunter,
yeah.
Hit me with it as quick as you can.
I'm going to try. So, Dynasty, Superflex, PPR, startup draft, I'm in right now. We've done 6 rounds. I just want to hear your thoughts. I got Bijan, Gibbs, Travis Hunter, A-Chain, Harvey, and Kyler Murray. It's a little run heavy, but like the value is insane. 10 teams.
What about getting some veteran wide receivers to go with that crew so you can win now? Like are Adams and Evans and Debo available? I mean, people are going to avoid those. They're going to avoid those guys, and if you just consume that and then get your Thornton Juniors, your Igbuka if he's there, I doubt he is, but if he is, those guys to help build your future, especially like a Thornton Jr., and then grab Evans, grab Adams, and win a championship first year, bro. Let people make fun of your old wide receiver room, but that's a fantastic room. You got a lot of future already on the team, and if you get some veterans mixed with some young receivers, you'll be good. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I'm thinking Devontae.
Yeah, you win a league. You're going to win a league. You're going to win a league this year. And then what's everybody going to say? Oh, well, yeah, but your receivers are old. Like, maybe they go one more year.
All but Travis Hunter. He's pretty young. I'm glad you're so high on him.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to get him. I reached a little bit at 3.9.
No.
Hunter, but I wanted to make sure to get him.
Well, 3.9 and a Superflex. You said Superflex, right? That is high to Superflex, but I don't mind it. I mean, it just depends on who is there. But who's your QB1 again? JD5? Oh, Kyler.
Kyler
Who can you get as your second quarterback?
I'm gonna target Michael Penix.
Yeah, that would be great, bro. And if
Dak
if he's not there, get Dak. Bo Nix is gone, I assume.
Yep.
Okay. Fields probably available. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
definitely get one of those guys in Superflex. You're going to need it, and then go target those late wide receivers and go win a championship, bro.
Do you like the RB room,
yeah.
though?
Bijan, Gibbs, Achane, and Harvey. Can you start all of those guys at one time? Is that many flex spots? Oh yeah, you're crushing it, bro. If you get Evans with Hunter, or Evans, especially two of those older wide receivers with Hunter, and you get one of these QBs, it's over. At least for year one. I mean, that's fantastic, bro.
It's 3 wide receiver and 2 tight end, which is a little
okay.
different from
And
the
you're revealing more and more to me that makes it okay. Well, you make sure who's your tight end. So it's a required 2 tight end league. All right, you better get on the ball there. That's new information. That's new information. It's a Superflex tight end league. Okay. Okay. You got to get on the ball, bro. Isaiah Likely. Ingram. Evan Ingram's older, so people might be afraid. If you get Likely and Ingram, now it's back to you winning the league. Go get Likely. Go get Evan.
I think I can get to 12. I can get both those guys as well as Dak or Michael.
All right. All right, later, bro. Appreciate you.
Alrighty.
All right.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
he's giving me half the story. BBQ. Great content on CMC Walker. Love the Seahawks backfield scheme is great for K9. O-line was trash last year. Charbonnet better between the tackles, but K9 is elusive and fast. Offers great value in auction. Thank you, BBQ, for the super chat. $10 hauler gets you a Mars shot, young man.
To Mars.
I'll be back tonight to draft on Underdog. Promo code Smitty. Again, that link is in the live chat. If you want to get in on the draft tonight, please hit that link that's in the live chat. I'm dropping it one more time right now. There it is. Smash that link. Do it live. And don't forget to get on over to the Patreon. I'm going to message everybody right now on the Patreon while I'm here with you guys. It's a 24/7 live chat group. Let me go in there right now. Let me pull it up, and I'm going to type. You're going to hear what I'm typing. Hey, everyone. Any host 8 p.m. Eastern show topics. And I love this group. It's so fun to talk on there. Get in there. Chat with me. I'm there right now waiting for you. We'll be live tonight on Underdog drafting. I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm additionally live whenever big news breaks, and I'm additionally live at midnight Eastern pretty much every single night. And then I also upload videos right now near daily at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 4:30 a.m. Pacific time. So all the uploads will be in the morning, live streams after that. See you all tonight at midnight Eastern. Thank you to my super chatters and gifted memberships. BBQ dropping the wattage. The gifted memberships from BBQ, he dropped 20. BBQ to the mother freaking moon. Overcome, Panthers, BBQ, Jared, BBQ, and John and Rico. Wait a second. Rico, you still here? Rico, you still here? Did I not answer this one? Oh, I got it covered. It was covered with this. Rico, you still here? Rico, come back. Rico, come back. It's like losing Wilson in the ocean. Rico, where are you? Rico looks so chill. I think he's still here. Does anybody think Rico's still here? I'm going to bet he's still here. Superflex 12 PPR. I get Bo Nix for Bucky. I have Genty. I mean, in a Superflex draft, you're drafting Bo Nix over Bucky, unfortunately. I hate it. It feels gross, man. Where's Ricky at? Or Rico. Rico Suave. Where are you at, my boy? Hopefully he's still here. We got 126 still in here. I'm assuming one of them is Rico. Rico, roll. I'm going to say you got to go get Bo Nix, unfortunately. I hate doing this. I love Bucky, but go get Bo Nix, especially in a Dynasty Superflex. If it's regular redraft, I don't think you'd be drafting a redraft this early, but it's closer. But Rico, I'm still going to say give me Bo Nix. Where's Rico at? Damn it, it's Rico not here. Rico! I'm going to put this on the end screen until Rico comes back. Rico, appreciate you. I'm going to leave it right here for you so that you know that I answered this question. You got to go get Bo. All right, see you all tonight. Thank you, Rico. Poor guy. Can't believe I covered his super chat. Damn it. Thank you, John. Thank you, Rico. Thank you, BBQ. Thank you, Jared H. BBQ, Panthers, overcome. BBQ, gifted memberships. We'll see you all tonight. I'm on the Patreon right now.